Russ and Scott.
Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook.
The experience is made possible by these great sponsors. The Aspects of Aging weekly talk show, unscripted conversations with experts, each week hosted by Christine Smith from AgingBetterNetwork.com. The Jalot Home Team, Keller Williams Realty Mid-Willamette, 541-451-2211, TeamJalot.com. Realistic Replicas, transforming metal into living art, RealisticReplicas.com.
Ta-da!
And
Welcome,
here we are.
everybody. Welcome to the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. Here we are, ready to roll, and so thankful to be with you all. And Scott, always an amazing privilege to be with you, my friend.
So much fun, Russ. We get to hang out, and you've got some news about the Experience Local, and it's now the Experience Local Network.
Woohoo! Yes. We were talking with our wonderful guest, Stacy Raske, this morning about all of the things that we're up to. And one of those we didn't tell her, and that is our latest show, The Experience Local Live with Russ and Scott, which broadcasts every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and is also broadcast on KWIL 790 radio, also on Monday. On top of that, now we've expanded to KYKN 1430 KYKN, there we go, in Salem, Oregon, has added on. And so we're adding on radio stations with that show. It focuses on local business and believers in business, and we love that show. It has got a great just so much excitement around that, and sponsors are coming out of the walls for that show. So we just really appreciate everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I love our sponsors. I'm grateful for everyone who has been there, Laura Jalot, from the very beginning with the Experience. Brian, with those replicas, I tell you, those fish that he creates,
amazing,
fabulous, just unbelievable. Great gifts for everybody.
I connected him up with a guy who does gifts for companies. He was so amazed, he immediately bought some. Yeah, I mean, they linked up, they talked, he bought some. I mean, it is amazing. It is really, truly amazing. So,
and of course, Aging Better Network every Wednesday at noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. here on the West Coast. Christine has fabulous guests. She's in longevity leadership, and they have unscripted conversations with experts every week. Just fabulous stuff. I get to produce that show, so I get to listen in on these discussions. But I encourage people tune in on AgingBetterNetwork.com.
Yeah, and you kind of know this Christine person a little bit, right?
Absolutely. 40 years we're celebrating married this August.
Wow, amazing. Well, Leah and I are continually trying to catch up with you. We'll be celebrating 37, so we'll just keep trying.
Good start. That's a good start, Russ.
Yes, it's a good start. So, well, hey, that is so amazing, Scott. You know, this has been such a blessed week. For those of you that are watching around the world, around the U.S., wherever you are, we have been blessed with wonderful weather here in Oregon, pretty much perfect for an Oregonian, because I was telling Stacy this earlier. We are used to pretty mild temperatures. So when it launches from 45 degrees and in one day it suddenly is 80 something, which happens here in Oregon, it's a little too hot. This week has been pretty much the 70s and sunny. And I'm telling you, it's been like heaven. It's wonderful. Very nice. I love that. So I wanted to also remind everybody before the show, we are on Instagram only, the Experience Backstage, prepping for this show. It's a great little audience of its own. And we really encourage everybody to watch on Instagram and then follow us over here on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time for the Experience Live with Russ and Scott, where we always have amazing guests like Stacy today. And we are blessed. She has been on several shows with us. And in fact, I think she was on the very first Experience, which is amazing. So we're thankful to have her back. I think this is 160 today. So it's been it's been a while since that first show. But also I want to remind everybody, Scott created a great new landing page, local.theexperience.video. Just go to local.theexperience.video. It gives you tons of information about he and I and about our shows. We'd love for you to do that. You can get to everything, even our YouTubes. But if you want to bounce directly to our Experience YouTube page, you can go to the experience.video. So either one of those works really good. This one especially, though, the local.theexperience.video has all the information about the new local show, about this show, about everything, and even some of our books that we've written, which we'll probably be talking about Stacy about her book today. So with that, Scott,
let's get to the good part of the show.
Yes. Wait, I forgot one more thing. Everybody, please share this out. Tag your friends. Make sure to let everybody know Stacy's coming, because we're going to bring her in next and you do not want to miss it. All right. With that, Miss Stacy Raske. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Cue the applause background noise.
There you go. Yes. I love that. It always reminds me of Sinbad. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show House Guest, that movie House Guest. And he does he's doing this whole promo on himself, and he does the applause like this. Yes, anyway. Well,
we don't need fake applause for Stacy.
Oh, no. But it's still fun.
Yes.
I mean, I'm co-streaming this too. So,
Absolutely.
Well, we love that. We love that. Thank you so much for that. And speaking of the amazing Stacy Raske, give everybody a little snippet about you and all that you're up to these days.
Oh man, what am I not up to? Goodness gracious. Hello, everybody. If you are new to my world, I am a speaker, author, Iraq War veteran, leadership advisor, business strategist, and I love focusing on systems and automations. Really, every single thing that I do is optimizing performance, people, and profit by creating leverage for your legacy.
And tell us the name of your coaching there.
Well, the coaching, the agency, all of it is under the umbrella of Influential.
Yeah. And how did you create that name? Because I remember when you branded that, and I just thought, that is such a Stacy thing.
Right? Well, science and word nerd me was talking a lot about influential leadership. And what was really interesting is I was just sitting one day and I was like, influential. I was like, there's got to be something about the root to that word. And it was that nudge and researching the origins of influence. And it really is to be in flow. So that inspired me to create and trademark Influential, really representing this highest form of leadership, because it's simply who you are being that is influencing outcomes and people around you. It just becomes effortless. And so it's why not only on the leadership side of things, but even on the systems and automation side of things, everything, allowing it to be effortless, because, why do the same things twice? Let's clone you.
Yeah. Well, I have some amazing friends that are always like yourself, that are always talking about flow and about when you're in flow. And I think about that whole thing, just what you're speaking about there. And that is when we're really in the lane that God gave us to drive in. I mean, really what we're all about, our expertise, what's going on, things are flowing for us because we're within our purpose. We're within our passion. You are so passionate about everything you do. You can just tell you're in the flow of what you really are meant to be doing, what you're all about. And so that, I think, helps others so much because it draws them to you. It makes them want to have what you have, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's the thing is we get to shine bright in order to guide others to their truth, passion, purpose, whatever that is for them, right? Being inspirational and aspirational because motivation's fleeting.
Yeah, yeah, for
Mm.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And when we were in the green room beforehand, we mentioned a couple of things about books, and you mentioned you're an author. And one of the things that one of the projects that you have been a part of ties back to your military career. And
Yes.
so, can you tell us about that? Because you're just talking about this aspirations, and let's talk about what that means and what kind of stories in your story that's in
Oh,
that.
yeah, absolutely. Well, what's really amazing. So the book is called The Military Effect. It was created by Scott Manthorne, the author of The Network Effect. And he is not a veteran, but he started really recognizing there was this missing piece in terms of helping not only veteran entrepreneurs, but a lot of people who are in transition and really inspiring them by compiling these lessons. And it's 50 veterans that he interviewed. And I'm one of those 50, 25 female, 25 male. And it's a really leaning into the value that we're bringing to the table that a lot of us feel uncomfortable. And when we're transitioning from kind of the safety and the comfort of being in the military, because everybody has the same standard and you know that. And then you're going out into the civilian world and you're like, uh-oh, okay, things are different. How do I translate the value of what I'm bringing to the table into these new situations? And so bringing in all of these lessons, it really leaned in on the value of teamwork and community and leadership. Everybody who goes through military service, and it does not matter your experience, your rank, whatever it is, but what we've all learned is how to lead and how to be led and how to work in a team. And honestly, collaboration and teamwork is something that is a really lacking as a whole
Mhm.
within professional environments.
I
And
love it.
so, yeah, and being able to bring that is just a game changer in owning
And
that.
I just want to jump in for a moment on that too, because I'll just say there's been a lot of negative views on the command and control style of leadership that came particularly out of World War II and Vietnam, and that worked its way into the workplace. But that you're talking about really the positive aspects of this teamwork and collaboration. I also say when I was in the Air Force, it was kind of like living at home in a way, because you check your notices and it's like, oh, I got a dentist appointment on Tuesday. Thanks, mom. Right? I mean, there's a lot of things that you're just taken care of there,
Yeah.
but it is about collaboration, about knowing your role and trusting that the people that you're working with are also going to do their part, and they're going to do it.
Absolutely. And it is. And you bring up such a great point to that it's not the kind of old style of leadership. We're talking about a very balanced version of leadership because when you're talking about life and death situations, right? Survival, we have to build trust and that requires empathy and authenticity. See, I think people just assume that militant leadership is really one dimensional, and it's not. When you're living with your team and the people that are leading you and the people you are leading, it's very holistic experience. And being able to bring that value into the civilian world is just been phenomenal. And most importantly, bringing that into our entrepreneur journey is huge for all of the fellow veteran entrepreneurs, and then obviously those who are transitioning out into entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I love that because when you're in the military and you're in situations like that, especially when you're overseas and in Iraq and other things, there it is really truly life and death physically. But when it does transfer to your life, it's really kind of life and death as far as your being an entrepreneur in business and all that you're doing. It's whether you're going to survive and thrive or whether you're going to fall back and just die in that scenario. And so I think there's so much that does tie in together with that. I always relate it. I'm a sports guy. I always relate this because you talk about trust and authenticity and teamwork, right? And it really takes good teamwork, especially as you go into business. But I see that in sports all the time. Good example. Right now, the NBA playoffs are going on. I love that. Denver Nuggets, who won last year, they are a perfect example of teamwork because they don't have a bunch of all-stars on their team. They have pretty much one super all-star, but they have a bunch of really good team players that know their role, that collaborate together, that work together, and they make amazing things happen. And you're thinking individually, these guys are not a lot, but together they're amazing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's great that we're having this conversation because actually Monday evening was the Tampa-based premiere of the documentary 777. And it is all of these former teams guys getting together, and basically they were doing 7 skydives on 7 continents in 7 days to raise $7 million for these nonprofit Folds of Honor, to provide scholarships to the families and children of fallen soldiers. And it is absolutely phenomenal because it was really focusing, yes, we're honoring those we've lost, but the biggest piece, and this applies whether you're a veteran or not, is, we know who we were willing to die for and what we were willing to sacrifice for, but who are you willing to live for?
Mm.
And this is so important because it is far beyond just military service. Think about parents. How many parents are willing to, die for their kids, but are you willing to live for them and be an example? Right?
Yeah, that's so good, right, Scott?
Yeah, I love this. We think about parents, what they would sacrifice, right? And but it is really, what is that positive impact that they want to have, that legacy they want? This is why I'm a big proponent of people writing books, right? Because it is that legacy. But you'll be able to take those things, those learnings that you have, those things that you've synthesized into the way you do it, different than anyone else. And Stacy, that's what. Let's talk about who comes to you and would benefit the most. Who are you going to help live?
I love the way you frame that. Absolutely. I work a lot with CEOs, C-suite executives, founders of organizations, and we kind of have a variety on different ends of the spectrum. Because when we're talking about the systems and automation side, whether you're a startup or beyond, it works for you. But for the most part, we're looking at people who have a successful business already. They just know that in order for me to stop being the operator and really step into the place of either hiring more team or adding more team, we need to create more process and automation. Because most people are up here trying to delegate and they don't realize they've got to automate first to remove themselves from the process in order to effectively delegate. If you don't have systems, if you're having delegation problems, look, let's go down to system and process. And I wasted a ton of money on the very expensive lesson of everybody's telling me you need to hire VAs and you need to hire people and do all this stuff without having the right systems and processes in place. So that is my life lesson to you.
Yeah.
But we work with a lot of large organizations as well who just need better system and process. And then on the speaking and leadership development and training side, it's any organizations or those high performing visionary executives and founders who are ready to elevate their performance and impact more by doing less.
Yeah. I have loved what you're doing and been a huge fan from the very beginning, as you know, Stacy, when we first met. You were a blessing to me and endorsed my first book that I put out. And, I learned that whole systems and process thing. And I tend to be a very habitual, process person in things that I do. And when I did hire my first, I call her my teammate, but my first VA that I hired, I was able to take those processes and just basically say, here's what I need you to do. Here's the process. Here's how it works. Makes so much easier, because if you delegate to somebody and they have no idea where you're going with that, what you're doing is creating a bunch of confusion within your organization, which just causes more problems, right?
100%.
Yeah. So, I love this. I want to get back to this whole idea of collaboration, because you said this and it's true. There's a lot of people that are off trying to wing it and do it on their own. And I do have a wing it personality, want to get out there and just make things happen. But people are finding, and if you are intentional about who you're collaborating with, which you have been, you talking about that with your books and other things, I have been blessed to be also in circles where people are intentionally collaborating and working for the betterment of everybody. Where, that old adage, we rise together, right? We're better together. I believe that wholeheartedly. You get with the right people, collaboration spirit, man, it's like the sky's the limit, right?
Absolutely. And the key is understanding that you're aligning yourself with the right people. And I think a lot of us, when we're in that space of entrepreneurship, I don't know about you, but how many times we're building the plane while we're flying it. And so it's easy to actually be in survival mode. And so when we're in that elevated stress state, it is actually impossible to be collaborative and work in team. So we're being very reactive in our problem solving. And so what's happening is we're making the wrong decisions in how we're approaching business and how we're approaching systems and how we're approaching hiring people or service providers. So I think a lot of us in the early years of business have those experiences of hiring the wrong service provider, hiring the wrong team, because we're in that space of we're just needing that quick fix and we're not thinking it through. So when you take that step back, the first thing that you need to do is be able to turn off the survival brain so you can actually get into creative problem solving, be collaborative. And most importantly, for all of us, when we're in that scarcity space, because again, that survival brain is meant to keep you safe, which means scarcity and fear. You've got to turn off that part of the brain and activate that thrive mind so you can actually be in abundance.
I like the thrive mind. I like that. And, this is thinking about, as you're talking about survival mode, and this is my experience as well, especially small businesses tend to spend, the business owners, the leadership tends to spend the majority of their time working in the operational aspects of the business, getting the tasks done for the day. But the tactical and strategic are so important, especially strategy, because if I get any particular task wrong, it won't kill my business. But if I haven't set the foundation and got the right strategy and know where I'm going and look at that long-term vision, and long-term, I was working with a guy, and his I tell, give me some long-term goals, literally 3 months out. I'm like, you got to think farther than 3 months. I mean, 3 months is over already.
That's an entrepreneur year. 90 days is an entrepreneur year.
I love that.
Taking out 3 to 5
I love that
years.
word.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
And so, Stacy, talk about the strategy. How do you help these business owners, these C-suite folks, get out of that survival mode and into the thrive mind?
So absolutely. So the key here is you've got to turn off that survival brain. And what's wild is you can do it in as little as 10 seconds. Most people know mindfulness techniques, meditation, things like that, but it's even more basic than that, is really just activating your senses. And it's not just using your senses, right? You've got to go a layer deeper and experience your senses. So when you do that, it could be as simple as just rubbing fingertips together, but it's with such focus and intention. You're feeling the ridges on each fingertip. It's not as simple as deep breathing to relax and get into your body. It's noticing the temperature change in the air going through your nostrils, coming in and going out, right? So we're taking it layers deeper, but it turns off the survival brain because it gets you out of your head and into your body, where the bulk of your genius resides. But when you do that, now you're opening up to being able to step back, right? Yes, we're all building it as we go. But, I love that you brought up, Scott, the needing to plan and strategize. So the success formula is 50% thinking, 25% planning, 25% execution. But most of us get an idea and we just go right into execution.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll take a stop off and go to planning. But when you turn off survival brain, you can take a step back. It removes the blinders. Now you are open to seeing this creative problem solving, and you can think about where we're going. And the biggest questions to ask yourself during thinking, which this is not overthinking, just putting that note out there, not overthinking. It is thinking in a way where you're saying, okay, who do I know who can help me get this done? Right? Whether it's hiring somebody already on your team, whatever it is, who do I know that I can ask for help? And what resources do I already have at my disposal? Could be that course you bought 5 years ago that you forgot about. Right? We've all done that. Or it's the books in your library here, at your house, right? It could be YouTube, whatever those resources are. But you find that first, then you go into your planning. So it might be like, okay, well, I want to drop my body fat percentage. So, can I hire this trainer or nutritionist? And they're going to help me craft the plan. And then we go in and execute. And that is the simple pathway to quantum leaping your results and really creating exponential success in a significantly shorter period of time.
Yeah, I think so often, Stacy, you've said it. We look beyond what we already have right at our fingertips, the resources, the people. Why continually keep recreating the wheel? I want to go back to another point too, though, because
Automate to delegate.
there you go.
Automate, yes.
That's it.
And
instead,
eliminate and
yeah,
alternate. Don't forget
ex-
alternate. Most people don't think about that one.
Alternate. I like the eliminate and concentrate. That was
Ooh,
another good
that's
phrase.
a good one.
you
Eliminate
guys
and
are
concentrate.
you guys are full of good stuff. So Scott's full of something, but no, I want to go back to something you said a while back, because I love this conversation. And, we're talking about working on our business, not in our business, not getting trapped in there, utilizing and collaborating with all the wonderful people, automation tools, everything right at our fingertips. I mean, all that is amazing. I want to go back though to that whole mindset of survival as opposed to thriving, surviving instead of thriving. And we're all quick to box ourselves up, and we all have this glass ceiling we keep bumping into. And I love, this is an example of some amazing people. Dr. Constance Leland, who I work with, this one of my latest collaborative books, the name goes right with this: Beyond Boundaries, breaking out of the boundaries and thriving in life's gray zone. Instead of just surviving, get out there and thrive. There's amazing things you can do. And when you utilize what you have already in front of you and expand on that, I think that is a really great point, Stacy, that, stop and just think, stop and give yourself a moment to look at where are you, what do you have there that you could utilize that can really launch you to the next level that you're just skipping right over.
Well, I didn't get the memo when I started my business that, oh, by the way, entrepreneurship will be this constant stream of triggering of all your BS, which means you're always going to be elevated in stress. So you're constantly in survival brain. So I felt like for years, I was just hitting up against the same wall over and over and over again, not understanding how my biology was affecting my mindset, and
Mhm.
my behavior, right? So we get so focused on just one of the pieces. But when we take that step back and say, oh, okay, I've got to look at all of me and how all of me is influencing this outcome. So it's the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And it's showing up in the avoidance and the sabotaging behaviors and the control issues and the boundary problems
Mhm.
constantly. Because when it's uncomfortable, that means uncertain, which means survival brain is going to go reaction and go to something old behavior that
Mm.
it is certain of the outcome was survival. It doesn't matter if it serves you or support your goals. It doesn't. It will just pull that old thing and say, okay, we're reacting or overreacting to the moment. And you cannot be in a state of reaction and in a state of action at the same time. It's one or the other.
Well, as we
Yeah.
as we
And
move to start to wind down the experience today, Stacy, I always say that you're not an entrepreneur if you don't feel like throwing up at least once a day, right? First of all, you're
Or
gonna
burning it down.
right. Well, you're afraid you're gonna starve to death, so you feel like throwing up. Then you think, how am I going to serve all these people that want to work with me? So you feel like throwing up. So apparently there is an alternative. Hire Stacy to help you deal with this so that you can actually enjoy what you do. And I always say you need coach. We need coaches. I mean, you talk about these great things about being in yourself, about going deeper, about going these layers deeper. And there are a few people who can do it themselves, but it will take longer. It won't be as efficient. I love this automate and delegate and all the other eights that we came up with today. And so I'm gonna step into Russ's role and say, as the responsible host, give us your gold nugget and that thing that someone can hang on to and take action on,
Mhm.
and how people get a hold of you and hire you to make their lives and their businesses better.
Oh, okay. So the biggest nugget and takeaway is it's only as hard as you make it. And the easiest way to stop making it so hard is actually to shift away from managing your time, because that's a finite resource, and instead focus on managing your energy, your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial energy. And when you shift into that space, you create leverage. And leverage really comes with one to many in everything that you do. And that's what makes it less hard.
well, and that is so great, Stacy. You're just full of gold nuggets,
Thank
mic
you.
drops throughout the entire show, and people are going to want to know more. So, how do they get a hold of Stacy?
Well, thankfully, I have a branded name. I am Stacy Raske on all platforms. If you shoot me a DM, I will answer, or you can go to stacyraske.com. It's kind of a nice link tree of all the important links to all the cool stuff we're doing.
That is so awesome. That's so awesome. Well, we appreciate you so much for being here today. As always, it's amazing to have you on. And we will do this again. This will not be the last time, but maybe now we'll go to 260 and you'll be on again. But no, appreciate you so much. And we're going to say goodbye for today, but hang tight in the green room. We'll be right there.
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous.
Yeah, I tell you, Stacy is just always she is such an uplifting, positive source of energy and motivation and all of that. I mean, she is just definitely, when I hear her, it's kind of like you, Scott. It is triggering things in my brain that I want to get accomplished, that I want to do, and reminding me that we need each other. We need help. We need coaches. We need people, mentors in our lives. We need people that can help us get to where we need to go. Because I say it over and over, we are definitely better together.
Absolutely. Surround yourself with those people who will not let you fail. And
Exactly.
that's a key. And Stacy is one of those people. We're fortunate to have her as a friend and colleague and guest today, providing just some valuable information. And I love talking about these these tools that we have right at our fingertips here. I think about all the business books where, I've read through these things, but how much of it have I actually implemented? Maybe there's some nuggets right there.
Yeah. No, that's it, right? Too. What you just said is implementing, taking action on the great things we know. And again, that's what Stacy was talking about. If you have it right at your fingertips, if you have this choice, these chances for automation and for process improvement and all these things you can do, and then ultimately delegating and raising, being able to scale your business so you can take more on, you need to be looking at what is right there for you to utilize. And I just go to D. Scott Smith every time that I need help. So that's mine, everybody. So I would recommend that you also connect with D. Scott Smith. There's his information there because he is an amazing resource, whether you're writing a book or whether you are trying to work on your business with whether it's digitally or whatever. Scott is just pretty much knowing everything. Also, I love to connect. There's my information on LinkedIn. Also, you go to russhedge.com. We talked about it earlier, Scott, but just as a reminder to everybody, we have this amazing landing page that Scott created, local.theexperience.video. Love for you to go there. Love for you to get all the information. And if you just want to go to our YouTube page, you go to theexperience.video, take you there. We'd love for you to subscribe today. We're trying to grow that page. And so we appreciate you all doing that. Don't forget, besides being here every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time for your listening and viewing pleasure, we're on before this on Instagram at 6:30 a.m. on The Experience Backstage. And we are now on Mondays at 9 a.m. on The Experience Local, Believers in Business, live with Russ and Scott. We're there every Monday, and it's broadcast also on local radio stations, KWIL and KYKN here in Oregon. And we're loving that, growing that local as well. And Scott?
The Experience Network.
There you go. The Experience Network. What do you have to close us out with today, Scott?
Okay, I'll just say tune in to agingbetternetwork.com, Christine Smith and her unscripted conversations on the aspects of aging. These experts come together. It's fascinating. Every week, you're going to learn something no matter what age you are. You're going to be older tomorrow, so start today.
And that's what we think about that. And with that, we're just going to say, have an amazing, amazing day and meet us next Wednesday here at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. We'll love it. If we see you then, have a great week and enjoy
the experience.
Woohoo! See you.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.